Hello and welcome to Therapy Express with Rosanna. Thank you so much for watching. Today we are going to talk about regrets. We all have them. It's unavoidable. Usually the regrets have to do with things that we didn't do rather than the things we did. I'm going to share these regrets with you so that maybe they don't become yours. Before I get into the first regret though, I'm going to tell you a little story. When I was 17, I fell in love. He was 16, going to my same high school and had been transplanted from another high school in another state. Well, I thought he was the best thing in the world. I was in love. I was just ecstatic. But my parents caught wind of this budding romance, and when they found out about it, they said, "Ese muchacho es muy joven para ti. You're not seeing him anymore." I was devastated. They said, "You're going to college, he's staying behind, he's only 16, he's only a boy." So that was the end of that. So for me, it was the one who got away. And get away he did. I never saw him again until 10 years later, but that's a story for another video. I never got to go to prom, so that was another big regret for me. And it had to do with the romantic relationships of the one who got away. That was him for me. And maybe you've had someone that's gotten away and you fantasize about what it could have been, and it is always really good. Oh, it would have been perfect with that person, but that's because you haven't lived with that person and then the normal, ordinary things that you do with your regular spouse or mate. Okay? The second part of that is that people regret having stayed in a relationship for too long. And it's toxic. They think it's going to change. They think it's going to get better. And then it doesn't. And it doesn't for weeks and it doesn't for months. And they end up being in the relationship for years. They regret not having gotten out of it sooner. The next regret has to do with relative feuds. People regret that they let disagreements get out of hand, that they haven't talked to relatives for years. I read about the story of two brothers who hadn't talked to each other for 23 years. One of them read a book that inspired him to contact his brother, and he did. And they couldn't even remember what the argument was about. One brother, Brother B, finally remembered that it was about a pair of sneakers. For 23 years, they didn't talk because of a pair of sneakers. That's a lot of wasted time. If you have a feud in your family, maybe this is the time to look at it so that it doesn't become a regret for you. The next regret, number 3, has to do with money. People regret that they mismanaged their money. It usually happens when you're young, you want to buy a lot of things, and then you get older and you have nothing to show for it. They regret having invested the money in the wrong thing or not having invested the money in the right thing. It's a big issue for people. And you get older and now you look and you're like, what do I have now? Because they didn't do the right thing. So look and research what you can do with your money so that this doesn't become an issue for you in the future. The next regret is parenting. A lot of parents regret that they were too critical of their kids or wish they hadn't been so strict. But one of the biggest regrets about that is parents who wish they'd spent more time with their children. A case in point, my husband installs elevators in homes. He went to this home, absolutely stunning, overlooking the ocean. And my husband said to the owner, "This is an amazing home. It's just gorgeous." And the guy was very forthcoming and he said, "It came at a price. I worked really hard to get this and I didn't spend a lot of time with my kids. They are now grown up and I really regret that I lost all that time." So that is a true regret that people have. And if you have little ones, spend as much time as you can because time passes so fast and in an instant it's gone. The next regret has to do with health. There are a lot of people who regret not having gone to the doctor when they should have, or eating poorly, or not having exercised enough. And now they're older, and all that is coming back to bite them. So if you are still young and healthy, do this. Exercise, eat better, go to the doctor when you have to go, and don't have this be one of your regrets. The final regret is friendships. A lot of people regret that they let friendships fall by the wayside, or that they didn't spend enough time with their friends. And this usually happens with new relationships. The couple gets so absorbed that everything falls by the wayside and they stop talking to their friends. But what can happen is that if they break up with a person, now they don't have their person and they don't have their friends. I knew of an acquaintance one time who had talked to me about a friend that he had and that he hadn't talked to him in years. And when he finally decided to call him, he found out that his friend had died. And he was going to live with that regret for the rest of his life. So I'm sharing this with you so that you can take a little assessment of your life and see what you can do today that can prevent these regrets in the future. All right, that's it for today. If you like the content of this channel, click on the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and look for me next week. Until then, make every moment count. Bye.